The Trump administration and Iran are in an escalating war of words. On Sunday, President Hassan Rouhani said if the U.S. attacked, it would be, quote, the mother of all wars, to which President Trump reacted on Twitter. In all caps, he warned Iran could face consequences of historic proportions. Then Iran's foreign minister responded last night saying, quote, color us unimpressed. But another quiet Iranian response could already be in the works. Here to discuss is CNET senior producer Dan Patterson. Dan, what kind of secret actions could Iran be taking?
Well, there is some overt actions and some covert actions, and today we're talking about Iran's interesting covert actions. Iran is a cyber-capable nation, and in fact, they're pretty sophisticated. So what we could see is a proportional response. Just like in a kinetic war with bombs and guns, when you fire a tweet like that, expect to be fired back at. So
sure.
The sources I spoke to said we could see kind of a spectrum of attacks from Iran, ranging in the short term from attacks against not just the U.S. government, but U.S. business, because U.S. business is incredibly vulnerable to cyber attacks.
Is there evidence that they have the capability to do this?
Yeah, there's a ton of forensic evidence, as well as the Iranians themselves saying, you know, it's just like with any other kind of munition where you say, hey, we are capable of doing X, Y, and Z. Other things are a little more covert, but they could launch DDoS attacks. These are using large piles of traffic to take down websites. Very simplistic attack, but also very effective. In the mid and long term, the sources I spoke to said, well, we could see a business where every piece of electronics is turned into a paperweight.
Wow.
The U.S. has engaged in similar types of actions, so we could see Iranian cyber strike back at not just the U.S. government, but business.
And let's not forget that the U.S. has definitely engaged in cyber warfare against Iran. Dan, tell us again about Stuxnet.
Yeah, the Stuxnet virus, as well as Flame and Dooku, were developed by the United States and Israel, designed to target Iranian centrifuges. And what these first cyber weapons, we call them cyber weapons because they had offensive capabilities, what they did is speed up and slow down Iranian centrifuges. What this did is buy time in order for negotiations to happen and to prevent Iran from developing their own capabilities in the kinetic world.
And Iran is still pretty annoyed at this, let's say.
Yeah, Iran saw this as an incursion just like a military attack. And since 2009, Iran has developed different types of cyber capabilities. So we will see DDoS attacks. We can see attacks that target the critical infrastructure. So when I say critical infrastructure, I mean lights, power systems, the types of attacks that, ironically, Russia used against Ukraine. Iran learned from Russia and figured out how to do the same types of attacks on infrastructure.
Speaking of learning from Russia, is it likely that Iran will target the 2018 elections?
It's more than likely. So Russia had time to prepare a sophisticated, multi-pronged attack. So this involved the social media cognitive hacking and propaganda that we talked about. It also involved some of the critical infrastructure, at least a wake-up call saying, hey, we're here and we can do some things. Iran doesn't have time to do those things with the 2018 election, but what they have time to do is what my sources say involve a shell script attack, meaning a shell script is the SSH, you know, those black little monitors where you log in and you have administrative rights. Iran doesn't have to take over an entire election system. They only have to sow uncertainty and show that, hey, we're here, we're capable of doing things, and you don't know what we did or what we didn't do.
It's pretty frightening. Do we know where Iran got the technology to carry out this level of cyber warfare?
Yeah, so Iran learned some tricks from the U.S. and Israel. They learned some other tricks from Russia, and they built their own technologies. So, again, this is a sophisticated nation that has built technologies that are world scale, meaning they are maybe right now a regional player, but they have aspirations of being a global cyber player, just like China, the United States, Russia, and Israel.
You know, we call these cyber threats, but really aren't world officials calling this sort of activity now cyber warfare? I mean, it's gotten to the point where it can be as damaging as dropping a bomb.
Yeah, so this sounds like hyperbolic language, and I want to make sure that we stay away from scare tactics. At the same time, this is called global cyber war, and what this means is that there are a number of different things that every nation in the world is capable of doing, where nuclear weapons or other forms of kinetic weapons are very difficult to manufacture, store, and deploy. Cyber weapons are commodities, and they are bought and sold on the dark web, even some of the most sophisticated cyber weapons. If we remember, last year, the NSA lost their stockpile of different offensive weapons to a group called shadow brokers. Since then, these weapons have been pretty easy to find on the dark web, which also means that big players like big nations, as well as small actors, lone wolf attackers, as well as third-party attackers. So this would be oligarch-sponsored groups. It could be organized crime. There's a number of players, and they are constantly trying to exfiltrate data from websites. They're trying to steal intellectual property, like China is known to do. And in some cases, like we saw today, even in the headlines, that Russia is now inside United States power systems. So if Russia can do it, Iran can do it, North Korea can do it, and other nations can do it.
Really terrifying stuff. Dan Patterson, thank you so much for coming to tell us about it.